Hello and welcome back to another Tech Tip Tuesday. In this session, we're going to take a look at how to properly record a customer return in JobBOSS. There are a few things you should consider when using customer returns. One is if you own the accounts receivable module, the customer returns form provides all the information necessary to create and print credit memos. The other is that a job must have a status of pending, active, or complete to record or return a to record a return against a pack list. Now, what we're going to take a look at is a job that I have in the system. So looking at my screen right now, we can see I've pulled up job 10160. I've already shipped this job out. We can see that I don't have a remaining quantity, and my shipped quantity is at 800. I also had pulled up the job cost detail report for that as well, so it might be a little bit harder to see. Let me hit F12 to expand my screen, but we can also see that there is a completed quantity and a shipped quantity here of 800. Now, my customer got back to me and they want me to return some of those because maybe they were not good or whatever the reason is for the return. So to return in JobBOSS, you're going to need to know what that pack list number was. So one of the ways that we know that we can look up that pack list number is by utilizing ShopView and searching that job number or by customer. Or you can also do that within the return window. So we're going to go under the Modules tab. We're going to expand Shipping, and within Shipping, we're going to select Customer Returns. Once we go into Customer Returns, I'm going to again hit that F12 key to expand my screen here. Once we go into Customer Returns, we have the ability to auto number our next pack list in sequence. So I'm going to start by doing that, and I'm going to hit the Tab key, and then we're going to utilize our lookup tool here. So notice we're starting on the Details tab. If I know the customer, I can certainly go to the General tab, and I can enter in that customer's name as well. And in fact, I don't remember the customer's name off the top of my head, so I'm just going to go back. And it looks like it was for General Electric. So I'm going to hit my JobBOSS button here, and we can select General Electric from here and hit the Tab key, and then we can jump over to our Details tab, where we have the ability to look up that pack list ID. And from there, we can see that General Electric is already selected, so we just hit our Apply Filter button. And we can go through and we can see the different orders that have been shipped. So the one that we want to return is this one here. So I'm going to double click on it to add it to the right hand side. We'll hit our OK button, and now we are completing a return against this order. Now we shipped them 800, but they might not be returning the full quantity. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to return in 100 parts. So I'm going to type in 100, and I'm going to hit the Tab key. Now, a couple of things here. So customer returns recorded against a pack list for a job. The return parts are going to be placed back on your job, not into inventory. If you want the parts placed into inventory, you must transfer them into inventory using the material control transfers function. Customer returns recorded against a pack list for a sales order line item. The return parts are placed back on the sales order unless you click this button right here. This button right here will be available where my mouse is hovering if you had returned against a sales order. So if you click the truck with that arrow sign, basically is what it is. When processing a customer return, the parts are returned to inventory under the part's primary location ID. If the part is lot controlled, the parts are placed in a new lot called return. Use the Location Transfer tab in Material Control, Material Adjustments, to move the parts into a different lot and location if necessary. So for customer returns recorded against a pack list for items shipped from inventory, the return parts are placed back into inventory under the part's primary location ID. If the part is lot controlled, the parts are placed in a new lot called return. Again, use the location transfer to change the location of that if you need to. Now, the button that's right here is, if you hover over it, called the Add to Delivery Schedule. So returning a customer return against a pack list for a job will add a delivery line for the return of the job's deliveries tab. If you click on this button right here on the detail, or on the button here of course on the Details tab, a second delivery line is added to the job for the delivery to the customer after the parts have been reworked. So if I select this, you're going to notice that the return quantity is going to then be 100. And what that's going to do is it's going to add an extra line here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually do that so we can see how this is happening. So I've now selected that button, I'm going to hit the Save button here. Now, we're going to go back to job entry. We're going to actually have to close out so we can actually see all of this happen. So we're going to go right back into job entry. And if we, I think let me see here, 10160. If we go back to that deliveries tab, if you remember from the beginning of this video, we only had the one delivery line that was on here. But now that we've done that return, it returned a quantity. So here's our return quantity, but then it added that essentially that extra delivery line, and that's because we've basically told JobBOSS by selecting, remember that button right back here, this button right here, by selecting that added that other delivery line, excuse me, let me go back to job entry, that added that delivery line back to the job because we're telling JobBOSS, hey, we're going to rework these parts, then we're going to send them right back out to our customer. So how do your actions here affect other areas of JobBOSS? So of course, what we took a look at is depending on what button you select from the customer returns, it may or may not add that extra delivery line. So by selecting that button, that's an action that would affect your job in indicating that we do need to deliver these here. Again, accounts receivable, the unfinished billing report. So the customer return and total cost for the return that is credited appears on this report so that the accounting department is aware that a credit memo needs to be generated for the return. So those are a few things that I wanted to point out as we did the customer return. Thank you for tuning in to this Tech Tip Tuesday. Make sure that you take a look at your help files for additional information that you might be wondering. And we will see you on the next Tech Tip Tuesday session.